Hi everyone, welcome to Reading with Eve, and let's get on with the bookish video. Today I'm showing you all the books that I purchased in the last, I think, 3-ish months. I filmed the last book haul end of June, and since then I'd like to say that I've been good and not bought any, but who am I kidding? I'm always going to be buying books at some capacity, and I refuse to be ashamed of myself for that. But I didn't buy as much as I might have wanted to in terms of targeted buying, like stuff I wanted to read or stuff that I've been eyeing for a while, like, oh, I'm gonna get this now, because obviously had to pay the lawyer fees and all of that for the house purchase, so didn't have as much spare disposable book income that I would have loved to have, but I still got a fair few. A lot of them are used from charity bookshops and all that, or like from used booksellers from Amazon. But since I already packed all of them away, what I'm gonna do this time, because usually I show you in like chronological order of where I got them from and all that, but I tried keeping track for filming purposes and it failed miserably. I lost track of what's what, so I'm just gonna go shelf by shelf and show you what I got, and I'll try to recall when I got it, and I'll try to tell you if I read any of them and or when I'm planning to read them. But yeah, so we'll start from there, like down there, and work our way up like that to that end of the shelf. I'll show you the books like I usually do. So without any further ado, let's begin. Oh, first I have my slasher stack. I wanted to do like a slasher summer and just read a bunch of them, but again, money purposes, it didn't work out quite as I planned, and I only ended up reading like 4 slashers in the summer, but I thought, you know what, Halloween's coming. What better time of year to do that than Halloween? So I have a bunch to show you, and I will start with the couple that I already read. So we have Cirque Berserk by Jessica Guess. I talked about this one in my July wrap-up, so I'll keep it brief, but I went through such a journey trying to find this. I genuinely thought that I Mandela affected this book into existence, because I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find it in any charity shops or any like used bookshops online, on Amazon, on eBay, Vinted. It was nowhere. Not even like an audiobook or anything. I was like, did I imagine this book? But eventually I got lucky and it cropped up on Amazon used for £3, and I couldn't resist. So we follow a group of teenagers who go to an abandoned carnival site that was a place for a massacre 30 years ago, and things go awry very quickly. It was really good fun, exactly what I needed at the time, because I was just sort of getting really mid-read, so this was like that 5-star that really sort of snapped me back. It had a really interesting plot twist that I did not anticipate, and it had some interesting writing choices that really made me root for people and things I would not have expected to root for. But yeah, it was really good fun. Then I have Camp Slasher by Dan Padavona. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. This is an indie publisher slasher that is described as Halloween meets Friday the 13th meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's about a group of counselors who go to get ready to open their camp, but they start being murdered one by one by this killer. I have some thoughts about this, but you can tell from my expression that it's nothing amazing to discuss, so, you know, I'm gonna leave that for my wrap-up. But yeah, it was definitely a slasher, even if you know, I'm not cheering you on right now saying that it's fantastic. So now the rest of the ones that I'm gonna show you I've not read yet, but I only purchased them, most of them, like in the last week or two, so I've not had a chance So I have How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. So far, I've only read episode 13 by this author, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.5. So this book follow Max, who is a movie director, and he wants to become super serious and prestige and all that jazz. But filming slashers is not the way to get there. And we have Sally, who wants to be a final girl in the movie. You know, standard stuff. So, when Max discovers that this camera that he found and has been using is actually, don't know if possessed is the right word, but it definitely has some evil intentions that inanimate objects shouldn't have. Let's just say the movie kind of starts coming to life, and they are going to be slasher queens and final girls, whether they like to or not. I heard some good things about this, so I thought, you know what, it makes sense for me to read it, considering that I was gonna read more of this author's work anyway. So, you know, it makes logical sense to do that. So that is that one. Then I have Babysitter Bloodbath by Regina Watts. This one is, think Babysitter and the Man Upstairs inspired. We have our titular character, Sarah, who is babysitting for a family. And we have an escaped mental patient who is looking to, I guess, make up for lost time or something. And, of course, Sarah is the perfect victim. So, yeah, it seems very retro. Like, that's what caught my eye. It just sounds like very standard 80s sort of vibes. Again, not taking itself too seriously, maybe a bit corny and all that, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. So, very excited for this one. Then I have Dead End Drive-In, which is teensy. It's a novella. It's 50 pages, and it's about a group of teens who have to fight monsters that are somehow transferred from screen to real life after lightning strikes their drive-in movie theater. Again, I'm not sure how it's gonna go concerning the length, because it is very short, but it sounds like a good fun time overall. So I think I'm gonna read this pretty soon, because I mean, it's 50 pages. It sounds like the perfect book just to get me closer to my reading goal, and just to, you know, feel like I'm accomplishing my mission to read more slashers by, you know, quick, snappy, boom, boom, let's read this. Then I have Heads Will Roll by Josh Wining. This is a summary slasher technically, so I am a bit late to read this, but who cares? It's another summer camp thriller, not thriller, well, it has thriller elements, I think. But it's a summer camp slasher, and it's basically about a TV star who goes to this camp to, well, it kind of sounds like a rehab, to be fair, and she discovers that it's not what she bargained for when they all start getting chopped up one by one. So again, fun time. I mean, I'm really excited for this one. It was kind of a priority one, I think. From all the ones that I saw and bookmarked. Oh, this is a slasher that I want to try to get to. So I am very keen on this one. I mean, I'm keen on all of these, so I'm going to keep saying it every time that I introduce you to a book. But it doesn't mean that I'm not loving the prospect of every single one of these. Then I have Most Likely to Die by PJ Stanley. I believe this is a YA slash. So our perfect main character, Senior, is going off, like, she's looking forward to going off to her adventures in university, like the best one in the country, you know, everything's perfect. But then one day her, because the cover shows her, like, honor roll picture that's hanging in the school is defaced, and weird things start happening, and the main character group starts believing that there is a killer who's dressed up as the school mascot, and the killer's after them. What for? I don't know. I mean, I just happened to stumble upon this one, so I Don't know what to expect. Obviously, because it's YA, I'm not gonna have my expectations too high. That's not an insult, but when it comes to slasher YA, they can't exactly do much gore or anything like that. But overall, I think it will be good fun. And the font, like, look at this font. It's massive, so even if it looks a bit thick, it should be a nice quick read as well. And then I have Breathe In, Bleed Out by Brian Macaulay. This is about, so Hannah's fiance dies when they are on the trip together. She's, like, she comes back alone, and everyone's like, okay, where's your fiance? And she's like, I don't know, like, he's gone. And everyone's like, huh? So, it's basically, she's traumatized, obviously dealing with whatever happened, but we're not exactly sure what happened, so we're unraveling that in the story. Well, it looks like that from the synopsis. So basically, Hannah's friends drag her to this retreat to, you know, process what she's been going through, and it turns out that this retreat is a bit of a picking ground for a killer who wants to hack them one by one. I have heard great things about this. Charlie said that it was fantastic. So I'm definitely bumping this up to high priority and hope to read it soon in the next few weeks. And then I have Clown in the Cornfield by Adam Cesari. And this is about killer clowns. I mean, that's what I heard. Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty simple. Like, the synopsis is very long, but it's about a group of teens who are being, and adults as well, that are being stalked by killer clowns. And, yeah, it should be good fun. I mean, it is pretty thick for a slasher, but from what I heard, it also has, like, a bit of, it's more than a mindless slasher. Like, people said that it has some elements of, like, paranormal and all that should be interesting. So again, excited for that, and I know that it's a trilogy, so if I like this one, I'm definitely going to be picking up the others. And then I have The Sleepover Massacre by Brian G. Barry, another random retro looking book that just caught my eye. Again, another short one. What, it's like 150 pages, to be fair. It's not that short, I guess, but not as short as the one that's the retro driving dead ends. The one, the 50 pages, that's short. This is short, but not as. But yeah, I mean, the title kind of says it all. It's about a bunch of party people who are having a sleepover, and they are, again, picked off one by one. You know, just how I like stupid teenagers in my books. So, yeah, as you can see, nice big pile of slashers. So it's definitely going to be fun at getting through all of them. I don't know if it's going to happen in October, but it's definitely going to happen. So fun time. And another slasher that I have here, but I kind of don't want to take it out because I put like a bit of a display on it, is The Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix. That one has been on my priority TBR this whole year, but it seems like the perfect time. It is about a group of people who survived a horrible trauma each, and again, things go wrong for them. I know I'm probably not summarizing it very well, but I feel like among BookTube, it's a very well-known book. I know that it has mixed reviews, but I am very intrigued because I so far enjoyed pretty much all of Grady's work to one extent or another. I think the lowest ranked one by his is a 3 for me, and I'd probably bump it up now because I was a bit harsh on it. So yeah, really excited for that one as well. But yeah, now we're done with this. I have a very random purchase that I couldn't resist because of this edge. I mean, I'm only a human. I can't resist that. But it is called Road Trip with a Vampire, and I think it's kind of like a horror comedy with a bit of romance, or a romance horror comedy, whichever. I'm not entirely sure. But basically, this is kind of framed like, I doubt this is a sequel. You know what? I'm gonna research it. But the synopsis just says that our main character Zelda is trying to escape her magic past. But to be fair, that doesn't really mean that it's a sequel. But anyway, she's clearly dealt with magic before, and this vampire, titular vampire in the cover, shows up at her doorstep with amnesia. And they embark on a road trip together to figure out what's what. So yeah, I mean, definitely out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, you know what? It's probably just gonna be some good fun. So I'm kind of... Then I bought some books from my boy Riley Sager, because I still have half of his bibliography left to read, and that's just not okay. I don't know, it feels wrong to me. So my hope was to read one of his book a month and finish them, like the whole catalog, by the end of the year. But I don't think it's gonna happen, but at the same time that means I just have more of his stuff to read to get me through before he releases his next one. So I already had Survived the Night, The Last of My Light, Final Girls, and With a Vengeance, and I still need to get Lock Every Door, but I purchased all of his other ones. So I read The House Across the Lake in September, and this is about a theater actress who, her husband passed away very suddenly and she's not coping well, so she's kind of been sent off by her mother, who's very image conscious, to their lake house. And her mother's like, I don't care what you do, just don't drink and get into any messes. But obviously she doesn't listen, because she involves herself in her neighbor's life because she thinks that her neighbor's wife has gone missing and the husband might have something to do with it. So yeah, this one I will talk about in my wrap-up, but I understand the mixed reactions, but overall it was still a good time for me. And then these three I've not read yet. I have Middle of the Night. This is so far the only Riley book, that's the way to say it, that is from a male POV. And it is about Ethan, who, when he was 10 years old, his best friend Bill, he just disappeared. Like, they were having a sleepover, he woke up, and he was gone. Billy, sorry. I just read Bill, but, I mean, Billy is, I guess, like, more of a childish, I don't know, pet name, whatever. Not a pet name, but you know what I mean. How little kids get their names made to sound sweeter and all that. So I'm going on a tangent, but anyway, Billy disappears, and then it's 30 years later, and Ethan is still traumatized by that, and he thinks that whoever took Billy might be back, and they might be wanting to tackle some unfinished business. Again, I heard mixed things about this one, but I'm excited to try something different from him, because I know that he's not afraid to try out different tropes and all that. So that one. Then I have Home Before Dark. This is definitely a very spooky season appropriate book. And it's about Maggie, whose dad passed away, and he wrote this book about their childhood home that she has very bad memories of, and it basically claims that there are supernatural things in that house. The book talks about it. So Maggie basically embarks on a bit of a, was there supernatural stuff going on, or was her dad just going a bit mental? So it's definitely, I would say, based on like a lot of people's opinions, it's one of his best books. Like, it's definitely like in the top 3 for a lot of people. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I think this one is definitely perfect for spooky season. So even though I was gonna read Middle of the Night next, I might bump this up because it just seems more appropriate, so like more seasonal. And then I have The Only One Left. Definitely, it's set in the spring, but something about it screams autumn to me. So I'm definitely going to try to get to this one before end of the year as well. But we follow who is hired to be a caregiver for Lenora, who lives on this house on the cliff, as the cover shows. And she's believed to have murdered her whole family when she was a kid, but now she is paralyzed apart from one finger. Like, she can move one finger, that's it. So she's left in her house, and Kit takes care of her, and she gives her a typewriter so that Lenora could tell her story. So this one has been very highly regarded, and I've had a couple of people telling me that I need to read this one. If I want to see what Riley does best, I need to read this one. So I will. I listen. I will do it. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. And I will be buying Lock Every Door like pretty soon as well, because I just want to have his whole collection like as soon as possible. Another random sprayed edges buy, because look at this. I couldn't resist them. The colors, like, this is one of my favorite color combinations ever, especially on the book. And this is about a pop star who may be a serial killer. That's all I need to know. Sounds entertaining as hell. So yeah, I made an exception to my I will only buy books that are already on my TBR rule. But yeah, it's rumored by Kelly and Christina Mancaruso. Like I said, no idea what these authors are like, what their writing is like, but it just sounds so much fun. So, and it's pretty. And then I have The Third Wife by Lisa Jewell. This is, from what I was like able to find on the internet that was spoiler free, this is less of a thriller and more like domestic suspense, and it's basically about a man who has some kind of like a tragic past, and he married for the third time, and he's like, okay, this is good. You know, I'm happy, my wife's gorgeous, amazing, all that, but turns out that his wife has secrets. And of course, in a classic Lisa Jewell fashion, I'm sure it's gonna turn out that everything is very connected. So yeah, looking forward to that. But I didn't love the last Lisa book I read, so I'm not sure when I'm gonna get to this one. I'm not rushing to get through her catalog, but we'll see. It will happen eventually, I'm sure. I have a couple more thrillers by authors that I love. So first things first, I have What Have You Done by Shari Lapina. It's about a small town where a young girl is found brutally murdered in a hayfield, and everyone's a suspect in the small neighborhood where nothing bad ever happens. And I know that it's going to be some juicy domestic suspense in classic Shari Lapina fashion, because she just does that magnificently. So I'm gonna save this for, because I only have 3 books of hers left, I'm gonna save this for when I'm feeling like maybe a little slumpy, or maybe just like I want something, you know, super like boom, boom, boom. Because her writing is very accessible in the best way. And then I have Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I still say it both ways. Which one is correct? Someone tell me. So I've read Sharp Objects and Gone Girl, and they were some of my favorite thrillers of all time. Well, Sharp Objects is probably like my top 3 favorite thriller ever. But this one is about Libby, whose brother is convicted of killing the rest of their family. That happens when she's little. And then years later, people are kind of investigating it again, and they think that her brother wasn't the killer, and that the real killer is someone else. And they're still out looking for, well, more victims to finish the job, whichever. And this one has, I would say, out of her 3 novels, like the full-length ones, because I know she has a novella, but this one definitely has the most mixed reviews, but I still want to read it and find out my own, like, make my own opinion on it, because she deserves that, because she's an amazing author. And then I have One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I think it's her newest one, and it's about a couple who enter a reality TV show. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to make sure that I'm telling you the right thing. But yeah, they enter a reality TV show, and it turns out that it's a deadly game where they will have to fight to survive. So yeah, again, I feel like I missed the perfect time to read this because it's no longer summer, but at the same time, do I care? I don't know if I do, but I will see when I feel like reading it. But yeah, it definitely sounds like a nice little true to Ruth Ware style book, because the last couple, well, they weren't necessarily, well, one of them was a dud. Woman in Cabin 10, I didn't like that one and ended up unhauling it. And I ended up unhauling 0 Days, even though I gave it a 3.5 ultimately. I was like, this is such an outlier from what she normally does that I don't think I'm gonna ever be interested in rereading it, because it just didn't hit it for me. So yeah, ultimately it'd be how it'd be. But yeah, so that is everything new that I can recall that I have on this shelf. And I am pretty sure that there aren't as many on these ones. So we're getting there. I just can't shut up, but I promise that we will wrap up soon. I have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V. Schwab. Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was my favorite book of last year. This is about a story transcending through 3 centuries. We have vampires, we have lesbians, we have lots of, again, talks about womanhood, what it means to be a woman in different times. Just lots of good stuff. I am nearly halfway into this. Me and Charlie and I, grammar, we were buddy reading it, but we made the mistake of reading it in, I think in August when it was super hot, and we read it in the evenings, and we were like, no, this is not moody enough for this. So I put it on pause, but I think I'm gonna pick it up soon because the timing is now very appropriate. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing where it goes. Then I have Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. This is described as a dark academia book, and it is about it's basically about a university where a lot of shady stuff is happening, and our main character is trying to figure out how to survive there. I think that's the best way to describe it from the synopsis. I've not read this one yet, so I'm not sure how to, but I'm looking forward to this because I heard great things about it. And this one I just happened to randomly find, and this is a sequel to a book I read like 6 years ago, The Devouring Grey, and it's called The Deck of Omens by Christine Lynn Herman. And this is, from what I remember, it's basically this town has what they call the Grey, where if you walk into it, you're never gonna walk out again, and there are certain people who can fight it. So it's kind of like kind of low fantasy, but with a bit of romance and drama as well. So I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I couldn't miss the chance of getting it for 99 pence. So that is that on fantasy and like dark academia or whatever, because you know me, I don't read them super often. So now we're going on to the next. So I'm gonna show you these thrillers that I have, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pop downstairs to show you like the lit fic and classics and all that that I have purchased, but I will just show you like the books. I'm not gonna bring them up here, like set the camera downstairs, but it'll make sense. So now for the thrillers, I have The Stranger in Room 6 by Jane Corey, and this is a woman who has been convicted of her husband's murder. 15 years later, she's now free, but someone doesn't want her to restart her life again, and it just goes from there. I've never tried this author, so I have no idea what to expect, but I'm thinking probably some domestic psychological goodness. So we'll see. Then Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. This is a random thing. Fiance just bought it in a charity shop and was like, this looks interesting, like something you'd read. So this is about, this sounds like another I Want to Steal Your Life thriller, because we have Sloane, who basically inserts herself into a life of this family who she just happens to stumble on while she is just hanging out at the park, and she tells a lie that escalates really badly. It could go either way, but I'm gonna give it a benefit of the doubt because it seems like it's fun. Then I have Mother Hens by Sophie McCartney. This is about a Hindu gone horribly wrong, but from what I heard, it's more like a bit of a cozier thriller, like not outright gory, disturbing, or anything like that. So I will expect something a bit more humorous. I know it seems kind of like I'm blowing through these now, but a lot of these were just sort of like random grabs or like thrillers that have just been on my TBR for a while, and I kind of forgot what they were about, and I can't tell you without having read them. So, you know, if it seems like I'm rushing through, that's why. Then I have She Started It by Sion Gilbert, and this one is, again, a Hindu gone horribly wrong. Seems like a theme, but yeah, I heard good things about this one. Then I have The Perfect Wife by J.P. Delaney. I wanted to try this author for ages, and I saw this book at a charity shop. This is about Abby, who wakes up at a hospital with amnesia, and she doesn't remember how she got there, and she doesn't think that she can trust her husband because he might have been the one to put her there. We'll find out. Or, you know, if you read it, you already know what happens, but I'll find out. We'll see. Then I have My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. And the synopsis literally tells you nothing, just that it's about a married couple who have a horrible secret. What secret do they have? I don't know. Can we think of anything? I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be good fun. Then I have The Accomplice by Lisa Lutz. This was also a random thing that fiance saw and thought it looked interesting. But it is about two best friends who have been friends for like decades, and they have a secret that binds them together, and when one of their wife is brutally murdered, things start coming to light. So again, not sure what to expect exactly, but we'll see. We're gonna see where it goes. Then I have The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. I was told that this is basically if Evelyn Hugo was a thriller. And, I don't know. We're gonna find out. I love rich people drama. I mean, I'm also jealous, because, you know, even if they're dramatic, they still have lots of money, but it is what it is, you know? Not everyone is lucky to be born into a rich family. Whatever. Then I have the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. Got the whole 5, however many books there are in one. Yeah, it literally says books 1 to 5. And I don't know much about this, but I know that it's about a woman who was unfortunately sexually assaulted, and she kind of took matters into her own hands, getting her revenge, but then she realizes that she has feelings for the FBI detective who's investigating her. I mean, people said it's a bit of a dark romance as well, not just like a thriller, so looking forward to seeing what that brings. And then I have Kayla by Colin Walsh. This is a kind of a literary crime thriller. A group of teenagers in early 2000s who are just, you know, having the time of their lives in the summer, enjoying each other's friendship and company, and then one of them just disappears without a trace. What happened to her? Titular Kayla character. We don't know. Will we ever find out? Well, I'll have to read it and, you know, find out. Then I have Falling by T.J. Newman. This is a survival thriller about, I mean, I've heard about this one a lot. But yeah, basically the pilot ends up being threatened and says if you don't do what we want, everyone, like if you don't send this plane down, your family will die, basically, because we have your family and, you know, we need you to do what we want you to do. So yeah, I heard mixed things about it, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna see what happens. And then I have Black is the Night by multiple authors. Oh, don't really care for the introduction, but it's basically multiple authors doing crime noir short stories. Technically, fiance bought it for himself, but I'm also gonna try it. Again, 99 pence, and it's about well, a tribute to Hitchcock and Rare Window and all that. Um, but yeah, I'm expecting something very sort of like certain vibe, very, you know, interesting. But yeah, you can see the books here. That's how you know that I had a fair few. And then I have a book that will be a reread for me, but I read it in Lithuanian, so technically kind of like feels like the first time still. And that is Candy by Kevin Brooks. It's about a guy who falls in love with a prostitute who is a drug addict as well. Yeah, it's just, I remember it being really sad. So I'm definitely gonna need to be in the right state of mind to reread it, but I did love this author's writing, so I will have a go. So yeah, these are the thrillers. And as I mentioned, I'm going to go downstairs and show you the books that I purchased there. It'll be just like a few lit fics and some classics. I just wanted to say while I was still sat here that I tried being a classics girly, and just being exclusively classics girl is not for me. As much as I tried for it to be, it's not what I'm interested in. And apart from a few that are like The Great Gatsby, Rebecca, I've Never Known Man, Dracula, none of them really resonated with me. Ultimately, I read for entertainment, and I don't want a book to feel like a chore to get through with inaccessible writing. And ultimately, a lot of classics are that way, but you know, different times. Back then, reading was an intellectual activity that not everyone had access to. So, you know, it's fine. It is what it is, but also it's not something that I'm interested in. But I'm talking about Western classics. Apart from, I think I have two there that are Western classics, but they're kind of like, they have gothic psychological horror elements. So that's why I was interested in them. But as far as they go, I just don't think I get anything out of them really. And why I try to force myself to read something that I'm not gonna enjoy, if that makes any sense. So, however, there is a caveat there when it comes to Russian and Lithuanian classics, because, well, Lithuanian kind of speaks for itself, right? It's, you know, how to phrase this. It can be easy to forget living abroad for nearly a decade where you come from, you know, forget your roots. And I feel like reading renowned works of my country's authors of that literature, it can really help me remember where I come from and remember my country's history and, you know, how we got to where we are now. And also I read some of them for school, so also like a bit of a, you know, memory lane of how my brain worked when I was a teenager and all that. So I just feel like, especially in today's day and age, it's important to remember those things, remember where you come from, and you know, where you want to end up. I feel like acknowledging your culture is very important nowadays. Especially, we could all stand to be more accepting of where other people come from, but that is a whole other stuff. For Russian literature, well, whether we like to admit it or not, as Lithuanians, our history has been tied with Russia's for centuries now, and in some way it probably always will be. And a lot of it isn't particularly good history, especially considering what's happening with Russia today, but it's more reading stuff that was written during the time that Lithuania was a part of Russia, not willingly, I might add, of course, but it also gives more insight as to how Lithuania as well lived in those times, historically, economically, sociologically. It just also really helps to understand the way that my parents and my grandparents lived as well, and I feel like that is an important part of my heritage to dive into. And again, I'm trying to phrase it in a way that doesn't sound condescending, But I think that because I have that historical tie to these books and stories, I feel like I get more out of them than someone who is like from, I don't know, the US or Canada or Australia or Japan or wherever. I don't think that they would get that same resonance because they don't share that history, and they could still appreciate the writing and you know, the characters and all that, but it's not quite the same. So, you know, it would be the same as if a French person reading lots of French classics, like to them it, you know, speaks a lot about their history and all that. That's the angle that I'm trying to say here. So hope no one takes offense into that. That's not the right way to say it. I cannot speak. Well, I woke up with a massive migraine today, so I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a slack here, cut myself some slack even, but that's what I'm trying to say. So I hope no one's offended, but I do think that if you want to read books that are written by different authors from different countries, all the power to you. I mean, it's important to know something other than just what you're told in your like little circle. So yeah, I will show you what I mean when we go there. So just to follow up with that, not rant really, more just like a pondering. So I do have the Dostoevsky classics. You have the Brothers Karamazov, The Idiot, The House of the Dead, Crime and Punishment, The Devils, and the short story Notes from the Underground. I'm not going to read you the synopsis for all of them because it's just not feasible right now, but these are like his most famous works. Then I have, one second. Then I have this War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Like, look how gorgeous this is. Like, I couldn't resist. This was only £12. I mean, come on. Another Russian classic, but it is chunky. It is like nearly 1,200 pages, so I don't know when I'm gonna get to it if I'm honest, but, you know, keeping it real. Then I have the two Western classics that I said I am interested in trying. So I have the Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, but that one I bought a while ago, so that one doesn't count for this video. And I got the Jane Eyre because I heard that is basically, it's basically kind of a gothic horror, so, you know, I was like, you know what, let's just try it. And then I got Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth, and it is essentially a coming-of-age queer story about two girls in a small Irish town, and one of them realizes that she is gay and has feelings for the other one. I think I bought it a bit late, though. I bought it at the end of August, and then I was like, you know what? It was such a summery read, and I don't know when I'm gonna get to it now. Like, I just don't know. But then I also have Liar by Elliot Gundar Goshen. It was a charity shop find, and this is about a girl who accuses a man of sexual assault. That's what I got from the synopsis. So I don't know where that's gonna go. We'll see how that's gonna go. But yeah, and then I have Amphibian by Tyler Weatherhall, and this one is about like a coming-of-age story about two teenagers who are finding solace in one another. And I don't know how I'm gonna react to that one, because obviously I'm no longer a teenager, like, not by a long shot. But I don't know, it was £2 on Amazon for a nice new hardcover, and I just couldn't resist. So yeah, I think that these are all the... Oh no, actually, I'm missing one. And then I have Teddy, which Lovely Charlie sent to me. Because, again, Amazon decided to bless us, and it's by Emily Dunley, and it is kind of like a socialite story based in 1960s, bit of like Evelyn Hugo vibes, so I'm really looking forward to that one. But yeah, I think that's it. A bit messy now, but ignore that. So yeah, these are all the new books that I have, as far as I can tell. I might have missed something, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading all of these and seeing what I think. But yeah, I will keep you posted on that. So I hope you like this video, and if you read any of these, do let me know if they're worth my time, in your opinion. And I'll see you next time. Bye!